Welcome to SEO Conspiracy.com. This is your alternative search news for week 40 of 2020. We have a lot more news than usual. So much is happening. Let's dive in. First in the news, it's in French. Semji.com conducted a study comparing SEO and content marketing. How do companies figure out production of content in 2020? And guess what? Let's scroll. I'm scrolling just to look at one piece of data. The whole thing is interesting, but what is even more interesting is the fact that my strategy, what's called in French the cocon sémantique, I translated in English in topical mesh. The entity in English doesn't exist. I only spoke about the topical mesh a couple of times in English. But in French, I've been talking about it since 2012. And apparently, it's the number one term used by content producers by 78%. Second is vocal search. Third is log analysis. Fourth is call budget. And 13th is AEO, anything related to structured data. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of creating the number one SEO strategy in France. And any French anybody who understands French can search Google, search cocon sémantique on Google or any other search engine for that matter. That's it. So I'm pretty excited about this because I always knew that I created the best and most successful SEO strategy. But here's the proof. Thank you, semji.com. Next in the news, Bloomberg.com reports that Shopify says rogue employees stole data from merchants. Always a few bad apples in any industry, any company. It's a shame, but always be careful of whatever system you are using. Okay, Google on the free version, or even Shopify on the paid version. You are not responsible for hosting the data. You're not responsible for controlling whatever is hosted on that server. And even if we can go a little beyond that, well, anybody who has access to your server can obviously take a look. So, yeah, just another example. Let's move on. Next on Twitter.com by our friend Glenn Gabe. You may have heard that Google is broken again, or you might have felt the effect of this issue. This is September 26, 2020. It's been going on for a couple of days. Then October 2nd, 2020. We have to wait this whole time to get some kind of answer by Google. Yet again, another bug. Many bugs in 2020. My explanation, this is only my opinion, no facts attached. There's a new boss at Google. I reported that in the news. It's a transition period. People are moved around, people are fired, people are hired. A lot of testing going on. It's integration era of search, ads, and voice, Google Assistant. This is not the last. This is not the first. Hold on to your seats, guys, because Google will shake up and bugs will happen for sure. Next on Reddit, Skinny Terminator posted, Microsoft has 14 million Facebook followers and only 60 likes. And yes, in fact, very little engagement. October 2nd at 2 o'clock, one post with 11 comments and 23 shares. That's a very bad ratio. So if you want to look at how not to conduct a successful social media strategy, how to fail at social media, look at what Microsoft is doing on Facebook. Next in the news, still Microsoft. Microsoft Bing wins Google auction search slots on Android phones in key countries. Yes, 31 countries. Bing won in 13 countries. And there's also the search engine info.com, which won many slots. Privacy War won 22. Info.com won 31. GMX 16. DuckDuckGo won only 8 slots. Yandex won also 8 slots. That's it. That's a spread that I don't really understand, but that's what it is. I guess that's how bids and lobbying goes. Next in the news, Cloudflare. Very surprising news here. Free privacy-first analytics for a better web by John Levine. Or Levine. This is the way to go, guys. Whatever the technology, analyzing the browser footprint, putting some tracking entities into I don't know if I should say it, how to do it. Whatever. Okay, you can play around, for example, e-tags on images and stuff like that. So even without cookies, you have many ways to collect data, and browser footprint is definitely a big trend. We'll see. Even they can't track back to your IP, they can't localize you. Well, what about the mobile and how they track you anyway? So one path, one step forward towards more respect of your privacy online. Even if you can't win the war, is it worth fighting for the battle? I think it is. Next in the news, Search Console Insight, an easier way to understand how your content resonates with readers. A new feature in the Search Console that supposedly helps you to build better content. I did not test it. I don't know if it's good or not, but here it is. Next in the news, I love this. Google Assistant. Use Hold for Me. You know when you are calling a support service and they put you on hold? Well, now there's a feature on Google Assistant that puts on hold whomever he's putting you on hold. And so there's the music and the automated message, and then the person picks up the phone and that person will have to deal with your Google Assistant first before you get to the call. Pretty cool. Thanks, Google. Next in the news, Google Merchant. Free listings will soon be available across the world. That's very cool. Thank you. It's been a feature that was limited to some countries, and now it will spread across Europe, Asia, and Latin America. We always love some free stuff from Google. In exchange, we give our data. Hey, fair game, okay? Another Google news, a new sense of direction with Live View. This is the future. This is a first step towards what I've been preaching for almost 10 years. I remember my first keynote about Google Now. It was maybe 2012, I don't even know, 2010, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And basically what it is Google Maps in augmented reality. Still, it's on a device like the smartphone, but when we will have a chip in our brain with an augmented reality screen in front of us with contact lenses, I don't know how, and something that enables us to stream 24/7. That's the future, guys. Next in the news, I always tell you to look carefully at the evolution of structured data. This is an official Google search developers.com, developers.google.com post about image license in Google Images search. Structured data to help you claim ownership of your images. So this is a good move. Google Discover. I covered that in the news. You have to take advantage of Google Discover. And this is a new help page to push you to optimize your content for Google Discover. Now, well, the help pages are very basic. There's a lot more to Google Discover. And honestly, I can't get consistent results on Google Discover. The website will appear, some pages, they pop up, they leave. So still a lot of experimentation in there. In my opinion, this is where the battle is at in terms of search, because this is profiling at your best, meaning what people get, the results they get. First of all, it's predictive search. They get content without searching anything. And it's relevant content based on their search history, based on a whole bunch of signals. If you want an advanced pro tip, text messages, SMS, they look at that. So if you get traffic going from messaging apps, that counts. It might be the backlink of Google Discover. However, if you don't want to take any chances, if you don't want to experiment and try to integrate this Google Discover, go on Google Discovery with a Y at the end. That's the ads platform for Google Discover. Next in the news, an algorithm that could quash Twitter abuse of women. I don't know if I should report this news because it's interesting, meaning machine learning can turn off misogyny on Twitter. The problem with this type of experiments is it looks good. It's positive, okay? It's supposed to help build a better web, build a better internet. get rid of whatever is negative. However, whenever I see this, I don't know how much of this study is done for clout, for public and press relations, or really because they mean it. I don't know. It's cool, but what's the end game here? I don't know. I want to see more about what's going on afterwards, the follow-up of this study. Next in the news, on Twitter, our friend John Mueller. If links are the reason why a site is ranking higher, then if you remove them, the site will rank lower. Links aren't the only reason sites rank, obviously, so I wouldn't blindly focus on them. Oops. Well, John, thank you. This is answering a question from Akbar7861, who is asking, we make backlinks to rank higher in search, but we also lost backlinks. Is search engine drop rankings if any websites lost many backlinks? If you followed my SEMrush chat, well, this is the most powerful negative SEO technique. Okay, you build a very strong link to a website, then a few months later, you remove that link. The website might never recover. Let me rephrase. The page, okay, you don't take down a website, you take down a page from a website. Next in the news, from the Hollywood Reporter, National Association of Broadcasters warns Congress tech giant could kill local journalism. In September of 2020, yet another cry for help. Journalists, it's like a endangered species, okay? Feels like the world needs to protect them because they are dead. It's dying. And instead of looking at themselves in the mirror and figuring out why are they failing and finding a solution, they keep on thinking that they are superior beings and that they deserve to be recognized as such. Well, the internet doesn't care. The market doesn't care. So if you're losing, don't cry. Gizmodo is actually saying, Google to journalists, shut up and take the money. Because that's what it is. On the keyword, the official Google blog, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google and Alphabet, the mothership of Google, mothership company, are $1 billion investment in partnerships with news publishers. That's for the USA. They are pouring money. They're giving some breadcrumbs to the journalists because $1 billion in Google terms is pocket change. It's a lot of money, don't get me wrong. It's really trying to buy out the industry, the journalism. How can you criticize a company which is helping you survive? Journalists are an endangered species, but do they deserve to be saved? That's the question. And last in the news, Senate committee votes to subpoena Facebook, Google, and Twitter CEOs. This is about the Section 230. Sorry, this is about the Section 230, the famous Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996. We'll see. We'll see what comes out of this because it's a major topic. It's in a parallel discussion to the big tech hearing, but the goal here is huge. What will come out of this discussion will change the face of the internet forever, for sure. This is new news for week 40 of 2020. As usual, all the links I mentioned in this video can be found on seoconspiracy.com. You just look up the post for the alternative search news of week 40 2020. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.